So many people think that they are championing and fighting for causes that they align with. But a lot of what people grow passionate about is actually conditioned into them over time. I'm going to tell you how this happens. But first, it is very difficult for me to demonize anyone politically because I understand that what we believe is deeply ingrained into our sense of reality. When people vote, they're usually voting to protect something of value or they're voting in fear of losing something of value. But here is the problem. It used to be that our convictions were formed by thoughtful lived experiences that shaped who we've become. But increasingly, many convictions are not grounded in personal stories or lived experiences at all. They're grounded in headlines or narratives or story highlights from the 6 o'clock news. See, the news understands the power of a story. And so that's why we're constantly bombarded with sensationalized clips and curated segments that slowly become our own vicariously, meaning inherited secondhand. So suddenly we're not passionate about a cause because it's deeply woven into our life experience. We're passionate because our emotions have been hijacked. And this impacts younger generations more severely because younger minds are more impressionable and easier to mobilize through emotion. I do want to acknowledge that sometimes stories are helpful because they can give us important insight into other parts of the world that we would never otherwise see. But often they're manipulative, especially when some stories are the only ones you see, and they're the textbook examples that fit the narrative and provoke the strongest emotional response. Now, if you've been following me, you know I always sprinkle in some scripture, so I want you to think about Proverbs 4:23, which says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." And so the question we all need to ask ourselves when we feel deeply stirred by an issue is this: is this a cause I've personally examined, or is it just my emotion that's being triggered? Grace and peace.